Good morning. Today I wanted to talk about the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees. The Pharisees and Sadducees were the religious leadership back in the day of Jesus. And he says, be on guard against the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees. This is Jesus. And then later on it says, but be on your guard, because they got confused and they thought he was talking about bread. He had to his disciples, so he had to let him know, but how is it you don't understand that I was not talking to you about bread, but be on guard against the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees? Then they understood that he was not telling them to guard against the yeast used in bread, but against the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees. And the reason that verse came up today, after yesterday I was listening to very influential teacher, amazing man who knows so much about God, but I don't see any of the fruit in his life. I don't see joy. I don't see peace. I don't see love. He is an us-them teacher. He is leading people into more the line of the Pharisees and Sadducees than he is the one that he says he follows, who is Jesus. Because Jesus emulates compassion and love and just beauty, meeting people in their broken places. This guy is an us-them teacher, tearing down Billy Graham, tearing down Mother Teresa. Just everything I ever hear coming out of his mouth is he's tearing apart the beauty of some of the people that have come in the past. And that's what a lot of people do in religion, is they make it about us and them. Yet Jesus teaches that they will know that you are my disciples by the way that we love one another, not try and tear each other down. And he uses this whole thing of, well, I just want to make sure they're not false prophets, and oh my gosh, it's sad. I've listened to a message of his before. The first time I heard him, I started crying because he was talking about building up a wall against that big, bad, dirty world, and that's not Jesus at all. And yet he's leading people. He has a huge following, and it breaks my heart because that is not who Jesus was. He's leading people away from him into a life of being a Pharisee and Sadducee instead of experiencing the beauty of relationship with God, being changed more into his image and becoming love, becoming compassion, becoming joyous, becoming free instead of being in bondage to religion, because that's what the Pharisees and Sadducees were, in bondage to religion. That's why Apostle Paul is teaching in Galatians, it is for freedom that Christ has set you free. Stand firm then, and do not go back into a yoke of slavery. He's leading people back into that yoke of slavery of religion, of being in that place of us and them, rather than come to me all who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest for your soul. Yoke yourself to me, learn my ways. So I'm passionate today because it just breaks my heart that there's teachers out there. So this message is for discernment on just, man, if you hear those us, them, be aware of us, them teaching. That's the emphasis of this, is just be aware of that. And if you're being led into a place where your life doesn't look like his, Jesus, then you might be in the wrong camp. We shouldn't be in camps anyway. It should just be us being changed more into the image and nature and character of God. And Christ emulated that. He walked on earth. He said, follow me, follow my ways, not the ways of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Anyway, God bless y'all.